You don't need to jump on the podcast bandwagon like everybody else is right now. I'm just thinking out loud. I know that podcasts are doing tremendously well, and quite frankly, I want to do my own podcast, but then all the elements of what a podcast takes just kind of gets me scatterbrained and doing something else. So I understand that there's a certain level of quality I want to bring in my podcast. There's a certain level of guests I want to bring to my podcast. There's an editing style. Like, I have a good vision of what I want my podcast to personally look like. But I also know the time and investment that it takes to produce that. Now, the equipment, I have it. Like, I have really good cameras, I have really good microphones. As you can see, I switched it up for this video. This is the custom branded Shure Nexodine microphone that I really love to use. So I have the gear, right? But the actual time element to actually record these podcasts and get them out there is one of the things that I'm struggling with. And so rather than creating a podcast, I'm reframing how I'm just simply thinking about what I'm trying to create. So let's take a step back and define what a podcast is. It's either an audio version of someone talking on a microphone and you're able to listen to it through these hundreds of different apps, or it's a video and audio version of someone talking and you watching and doing this through any of these hundreds of different apps, and probably the main one being YouTube right now, right? So we know what a podcast is. So at its simplest form, video and audio, let's just leave out all the fluff that goes around it. Now, I understand, as you put in the comments, I already get it. Like, trust me, I get it. I know what a really good podcast looks like. I've watched them. I watch them on a regular basis. The production for a solo content creator, you're going to be spending a whole lot of time and you're probably going to burn out before episode 3. Like, that's the reality of it. So rather than framing this as, oh, I need to create this podcast that looks like their podcast or looks comparable to their podcasts, let's just take out the word podcast and just say, hey, I just want to have a conversation with you. Just a conversation. I just want to talk. Because if you frame it that way in your mind, it's very easy to just have a conversation with this camera lens and you being on the other side of this camera lens than me thinking about what it takes to put together a podcast. I really have to either go to a studio if I don't have the proper equipment, or I have to really lay out the run of show. I need to know where to put my different ad breaks in. There's a lot that goes with it, especially if you're looking to monetize your podcast, because I'm not creating a podcast just to be creating one. Like, if that's the case, I would much rather just talk to you on the camera than all the elements that go along with a podcast. Now, at a certain level, once you're able to monetize, or you're getting close to that stage where you can monetize, there's some revenue coming in, of course, step it up. Do a more edited version of your conversation where you can do the different edits and B-rolls. And typically most people in this state would probably want to outsource, because you don't want to be a content creator doing every piece of the content. You are the talent. At the end of the day, if you're the one in front of the camera, you are the talent, and that's probably where you need to spend the majority of your time. One of the reasons that we burn out as creators is because we're trying to do everything. And if you're trying to edit your podcast the way that million subscriber podcast is being edited by yourself, have fun with that. I'm not signing up for that. I would much rather at this stage just have this conversation. Now, there are ways that you can make it a little bit more advanced in the style of delivery where it looks a little bit better. There are a lot of platforms out there that make it easy to interview people virtually. So that's an option for you. You could pull up platforms that we started using a lot since 2020, the different meeting platforms, and do it that way. Now, there are better ways and better platforms that are more suited than others, but if you're just getting started, I want to just leave this as something to think about in how you approach it so that it's not overwhelming. we actually need to get past a certain amount of episodes so that we can feel like we're consistent. And the reality is, if we're brand new and no one knows who we are, there's going to be very few listeners to those first few episodes anyway. So use that as your training ground. Use that as a test bed to just get it out the way and get some practice in, get your reps in before you get to the point of producing a full on podcast of what we see that we actually like and want to replicate to some degree. So get it all out the way early before you invest a whole bunch of time and energy and money into episodes 1, 2, and 3 where they look great, but nobody watches them. Think about how you view content on, I'll use YouTube podcasts, for example, right? When you pull up YouTube, you're probably going to a podcast of someone that you've been following for a while. Or you're probably going to a podcast, when you click on it, that production quality is nice. Like the edits are nice, the camera quality is super nice. Like there's an element to that edited, professional looking podcast that you're going to. So if you're trying to replicate that, you need something, you need the resources, you need the cameras, you need the microphones, you need the ability to edit. But if you have to learn all this stuff, that's a big ask for you. So don't try to jump all in right off the bat. Like, take steps. First, I would just recommend, hey, just have a conversation with the camera. Take out the word podcast. Hey, I'm just going to have a conversation with the camera, because on those days when you don't feel like recording a podcast, we will know. Like, I am not the one that really likes to get in front of the camera. Like, I have always been the behind the scenes guy. I've been the tech guy behind the scenes. I've been the audio video engineer at the back of the church. Like, I don't need to be the one on camera. But if I'm going to share with people how to do the thing that I do, or teach them how to do the thing that they want to do, that you want to do, I actually have to be in front of the camera to show you. So I'm able to get over that hurdle pretty quickly because I have to show you, and this is the easiest way to do it. Plus, this pays the bills. As a content creator, me being able to educate pays the bills. And if you just want to educate, or just be funny, or just share your story, or just, vent on camera, like, literally it all pays the bills, because content is a thing now. There's all kinds of different videos that are getting viewership, that in return is getting sponsorship dollars, that in turn is getting creator funded. Like, there's different ways to monetize content. So don't let podcasts, the word podcast, the idea of what a podcast is, be the thing that slows you down in uploading your content. Okay, it's just me, just thinking out loud.